Kahala la Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Waha, Recha Kwadash. All praises and glory go to you, Lord. Double honors and respect go to our apostles, bishops, elders, and teachers, the men of Great Millstone. To you I say Shalom. Salutations to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Amraya. And today we're going to discuss a dream that I had a couple hours ago. After returning from work, I was exhausted, decided to lay down and take a nap. And the dream that I had was just kind of scary, inspiring, all of that. All right. And without further ado, what occurred was in this dream, I was riding along in my car. This is how the dream started out. And I ran across an ex-girlfriend, okay, who asked for a ride. So I give her a ride, and she wants to go to these like projects, like old school projects where, they're like 3-4 stories, hallway leading all the way through, and very ghetto, okay? We get to the destination, and she busts a move on me in the dream, okay? And this is not turning into one of those. I don't want y'all thinking that, but she busts a move on me. And after she busts her move, was very adamant that, me and her were going to be together at that point. So I tell her it's not going to happen, all right? And she gets upset. This is, after she busts her move, we were already back in the car. I was about to take her to another destination and drop her off. But after this altercation happens between me and her, she decided to hop out of the vehicle and take off walking. So I look at my gas gauge, and I was on E. Began to look for a gas station because it was already kind of getting late at night, about 9-10 o'clock, and dark outside. So I see this Valero on a hill, and I'm about to turn into the Valero, and that's when all hell broke loose. The pumps exploded. The gas station itself exploded. I'm looking at cars around me exploding, and I'm like, oh, snap, something's going down. So I try to flee the scene in the vehicle, but I'm already out of gas. And the only thing I could see was this mall. And I decided to park there and flee into the mall for safety. And when I got into the mall, all hell was breaking loose in there too. Turns out chariots had exploded the gas station, exploded people's cars. They had angels unaliving people, all right, all around me. I'm running through the mall. I'm seeing people be attacked, vaporized. So I hide in this like shoe store back where they keep the stock, where they hold the shoes. And I'm just hiding back there, kind of like trying to be quiet so I don't get noticed myself. And there was kind of like a window you could see from the loading dock area coming into the back of the store where I was. And I could see angels coming up the loading dock. And there were also other people in the back trying to hide with me, all right, with the stock where the shoes were and the clothes and all of that. So the angels come in and start unaliving everyone hiding in the store. So I'm shitting my pants scared at this point. The angel gets to me because I'm hiding kind of like behind this wall where they have these like jumpsuits. And the angel gets to me, and they were in a group. It was a group of angels. And they look at me and just bypass me and keep going. And I was so thankful. But they carried on unaliving people throughout the store, throughout who were hiding. And then they went on about their business. When, I must have sat there in the dream, it felt like an hour, 2 hours. But when the coast seemed clear, I decided to, my clothes had gotten all torn up running and trying to escape. So I grabbed some of the stock from the back, replaced my shoes and all of that. And then I started looking for my car in the parking lot, but the car had already been kind of like, it wasn't completely destroyed. Like I could get into it and drive it when I came upon it, but it wasn't driving very fast. The engine was knocking. It had sustained some damage. And nobody else was around at the mall at that point. Everyone had, fled to safety or whatever they did, got vaporized. So I get into my car and I start looking to try to get some gas so I can get back to my house. I pull back around where that gas station first was, and it was nothing but military officials there, taping off the whole area. I realized it was the only gas station in the area, and I had to abandon the vehicle anyway because there was no way to put gas in it. It was on E. And then I woke up from this dream, and when I woke up, I was drenched in sweat, man. I'm talking all over the cover. I myself was sweating, a little disoriented. I started thinking to myself, why did I have this dream? And then all of these scriptures started to flow in. And that's when I knew it was a spiritual matter. So as we always do, we filter through the scriptures, and this is what we're about to do right now. Now, once I got my bearings, discussed this with a brother, this scripture did come up, and we'll begin here in Ezekiel chapter 9, because the Lord has a great judgment, all right, coming to the world for sin and iniquity, for the treatment of the children of Israel. America, Babylon the Great is slotted to be destroyed, all right? But as he stated, judgment will begin in the house of Israel, okay? And in this dream, I completely felt like this was judgment beginning. It was all hell breaking loose. This is Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4 is where I begin. It says, "And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem." And Jerusalem is a people before it is a place. "And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof." Okay. And this mark being spoken of here is the Thawa, the mark of exemption. All right. Which the elect of the nation of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians, the elect would receive from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai to pardon their punishment or pardon their sentence that they would receive for sin, for the transgressions of the law, statutes, and commandments throughout the Holy Scriptures. Okay. Verse 5, "And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity." And this is what I was witnessing in the dream. All right. The angels were not sparing anybody around me. There was no pity. All right. Women, children, men running for their lives, being vaporized. It was a very troublesome dream. It was a very scary dream. All right. But this is going to happen. All right. At some point, judgment is going to spring forth, and the Lord is not going to have pity. All right. The angels of the Lord, the spirits created for vengeance of the Lord, all right, for the Lord, are going to go through the city, unaliving people, man. All right. Not having pity. And this is what I witnessed in the dream, a very sore judgment, okay? Verse 6, "Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, the Thawa, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, Defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain," right? "Devour much flesh, stack up the bodies," okay? "Go ye forth," and they went forth and slew in the city, okay? And just witnessing this in the dream was, man, it was surreal. As again, I woke up in a sweat, drenched in sweat like I was there. Okay. And I myself only, I wasn't thinking I was a portion of the elect in this dream. I'm thinking, man, I'm next. You know what I mean? It was very scary, hiding for your life. You're in survival mode. Okay. But the Lord spared me. All right. In this dream, he spared me from the judgment that everyone else was receiving. And I was so thankful. All right. But I was still shit my pants scared. All right. I was scared out of my mind. All right. You know, I don't know how in the world I managed to escape this, Verse 8. And it came to pass while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face and cried and said, O Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel in the pouring out of thy fury upon Jerusalem? Right. All right. And I didn't quite say those words, but I understand what this is being said, man. You're like, man, goodness gracious, Lord. Is everybody going to get it? Verse 9, then he said unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, Yahweh hath forsaken the earth, and Yahweh seeth not. And as for me also, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. Right. They will not transgress his word. All right. So prepare yourselves. If this dream was any indication of what is coming, it's going to be an obstacle course of death, man. All right. Death around every corner, like the old Tupac song, This is a warning from me to you, telling you, man, get right with your power if you're of the house of Israel before his judgment springs forth. All right. Because in that day, it's going to be hectic. All right. I have one more set of scriptures we're going to grab, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Hopefully this has been edifying, but this is Amos chapter 5, and I'll begin at verse 18. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? Right. All right. And in this dream again, I didn't know if my ass was next. All right. It was going down so fast, so quickly, so violently. I didn't know if I was next. And I was shaking in my boots, man. All right. And I'm a portion of the hopeful elect, but in this dream, I didn't know, what was going to happen. I'm thinking, hey, man, just prepare to meet your maker, To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? Right. All right. It's gonna be hectic, man. When the day of the Lord cracks off, when his judgment springs forth, hey, man, it's not gonna be nothing, no laughing matter. It's not gonna be funny. It's not gonna be. You're gonna be running for cover. You're gonna be in survival mode. Okay. Trying to preserve your own skin in that day. All right. See, the day of the Lord is going to be all out chaos. All right. Everything is going to shake loose. Everything is going to be last ditch effort to cover your own ass. All right. No one's going to be there to save you. I didn't have any other family around, any other brothers around. All right. When the dream cracked off the way it did, I was out and about doing a daily activity when all hell broke loose. And this is how it's going to be in the day of the Lord, man. All right. It's going to come upon us as a thief in the night, and there will be no running from it. All right. I also get to thinking about Babylon's destruction coming in 1 hour, man. All right. The Lord is going to make quick work of you sinners. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to make quick work of you heathens. All right. Of America, Babylon the Great. It's not going to be anything left but vapors and the smell of smoke. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab one more before we end. that kind of gives a description of what it was like in the dream. Okay. Let me see if I can get it correct. It might be, no. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. This is the return of Yahweh Shai, man. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him, right? All creation, especially you human beings. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue that man that came out of the sea, which is Yahweh Shai. And I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it, right? A big-ass fathership, man. A UFO, a UAP, all right? But so huge, watch what the prophet says here. Verse 7, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, right? He couldn't tell where this thing came from. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, right? And I witnessed this in the dream, all right? But it wasn't Yahweh Shai. His chariots were doing this. His angels were doing this, okay? Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid, right? And this is what I was witnessing in the dream, all right? People being vaporized, turning into dust, the smell of smoke, running for their lives, grieving, lamenting, shitting their pants, okay? It was nothing that I could do but run, and I was sore afraid, okay? Don't let this day come upon you without you repenting if you're of the house of Israel, okay? Hopefully this has been edifying. I just wanted to put this on record that I had this straight. Until the next time, Israel, Shalom.